friends, my name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Let's go on to the next video. That was from the ride home. That was on the ride home from Rampage, actually, this year. Late at night, all alone, in a random empty parking lot. That's FPV, baby. In the chat, Whack FPV, JT Custom Knives, Mike Papano, Frank Nicholas, Alexander FPV, Northern Tier, Rob Axelson, Grizz, Alexander again, License to Drive, Matthew Vega, RC Ritter, Brandon's Baked Beans, Dan636, T-Bird, Mike, Riot9, B-Man again, Brandon again, Pressure at FPV Merch, interesting screen name, Cody SA, Free Range Chicken, Carbon Cage, Compost Pile, Rob Axelson again, B-Man again. I'm going to leave it there. If you want the gangly man to read your name, you got to get in early. You got to type some things. If you want to talk directly to me, all you got to do is type my name, and it'll light up in orange, and I'll know that you're talking to me. You can also do a super chat, which would be appreciated because this is my full-time job, and I rely on all of your support. I rely on the support of people like you. Here at PBS, we suck. No, it's not true. PBS is a wonderful organization. Much like PBS, I rely on you guys to support a brother. Luckily, that gets you unbiased reviews. You make a suggestion as to what you want to see me do, and I do it because you guys are my boss. If you head over to CiottiFPV.com, there's a bunch of other ways that you can support me there. An Etsy page with a bunch of really cool stickers that you're gonna love. I don't know where my little stash is. Fiverr page, I want to work for you. I'm doing build planning, flight instruction, and I'm teaching you to tune one-on-one. You don't have to go through Fiverr. You can go there and look up the description and then just message me and we'll hook it up. There's a Teespring page with a bunch of wonderful t-shirts, and there's a bunch of affiliate links. If you're ever doing an order for anything on Amazon, Get FPV, FPV Crate, and a bunch of other websites, Oh My God's website, FPV Cycle, when you're getting those glides and Cinesplores, maybe a toothpick. Yeah, I can get 1 to 6% of your order total. You can still do coupon codes and all that fun stuff and get free shipping. It's free money, so try to remember to click it. If you're a person that uses bookmarks, change your bookmarks that go to those websites with my affiliate link so that you won't even have to think about it. Because the hardest thing is remembering to use an affiliate link. I just did a whole bunch of Amazon orders. God damn it. I just did like $400 in Amazon shopping, and I didn't use my own motherfucking affiliate links. Hi, friends! Whack FPV tagged me and said, yo, ladies and gents, welcome to the stream. Rob Axelson said, I'm still awake, not sure for how long. Grizz FPV says, I kisses a drone, and I didn't like it. T-Bird says, what's up, beautiful? Mike Papano says, hey, Ciotti. B-Man says, yo, what's up, broski? Free Range Chicken says, howdy all, and CiottiFPV. Carbon Cage says, hey, Ciotti. Family Guyver says, what's up, collective? Quadkilla says, what's up, Captain Gangles? Much love, hope all is well. All is well. Those of you that follow me on Instagram at CiottiFPV got to see that I finally got back out into a flying gig today. It was just awesome. Had a blast as always, and yeah, I was starting to get a little worried. So yeah, another music video. They did a really good job location scouting. It was it was completely sketchy-less. It was not sketchy at all. Deserted road in the middle of nowhere kind of thing. Really, really cool. Really, really fun. Cinesplores did pretty well. I had zip tied the receiver on, so I don't usually use Unify VTXs, but I did in the one Cinesplore, and I'm not used to the button on it, so I had zip tied my Crossfire Nano down to the top of it, and it was pushing on the button. So it was acting really weird when I first got out there. I'm like, what the hell is going on with this thing? and then I just kind of looked at it and saw that, and so I just clipped I'd VHB'd them all together, so I just clipped the zip tie, and all my problems went away. And it kind of made me realize that that's not like, VHB, if you push VHB, if you push two things with VHB on it together, like with a zip tie, for example, for a while, that VHB is, like, buried forever. So I don't even think I'm gonna put a zip tie on that in another position, because that VHB is all... You know what I mean? Recursive FPV says, yo, what's up? Remy Tim with a $20 super chat. Thank you, brother. Holy shit. Thank you for the support. 20 last stream and another 20 today for the M1 Fund. Let's get it going. M1 Mac Mini Fund is going from math to math. Is it a 7? 3 becomes 7? I think that's right. Thank you so much for the support, Daniel. You are the goddamn man. Dan is the FPV mentor. If you've got someone that you want to actually get in the hobby and not just get into it with you for a month and then quit because it's the worst hobby ever, until you're like 2 years in and then it becomes the best hobby ever, Daniel Maurer, Remy Tim is going to be the difference to getting that done. I've never had that happen. I've never had a single person... I've never had a single one of my real life friends be stubborn and driven enough to stay in this hobby, which sucks, you know. Like, we want to share this hobby with people, but it's a fucking nightmare. Like, come on, you guys remember? Maybe you don't remember because you blocked it out, because that's what the human brain does. What do you think of that? But yeah, it's impossible. Luckily, Daniel Maurer, Remy Tim, is FPV Mentor, fpvmentor.com. Send anybody over there that's either getting started in the hobby or just people with technical questions. That's really what Daniel is gonna... he's just gonna save you so much time. You're gonna pay a little bit of money, but you're gonna save some time. That's how it works in life. If you have a little bit of extra money, you can save yourself a whole bunch of extra time. You know, that's what I do on Fiverr as well. If you want to learn to tune, if you want to fly better, or if you want to build better and pick the right parts to build, spend a little money, and I can help you out with that. With, you know, some of these things, it might actually pay for itself, right? You know, Daniel tells you not to use a crossfire. I'm sorry, not to use a Spectrum radio and to do something with crossfire. That saves you the amount of money from eventually selling that other radio. You know what I mean? So, like, buying the right parts, buying good parts, these things will pay off in the end. And in the interim, you can support a couple of dudes trying to, you know, live the FPV dream. Carbon Cage says, what was your opinion on the Cinolog that JB lent you? I have one unflown until Christmas. Was it a decent buy, or does it suck sweaty balls? Also, do you know of the Rush ESC issue? I do not know of the Rush ESC issue. The Cinolog 35 confused me. I could not figure out a proper... the only uses for it were, like, very... it doesn't work right as a Cinewhoop. It doesn't work right as a full-blown freestyle rig. The only use that I can think of for it would be, like, medium speed chasing. Like 20 to 30 mile an hour chasing, where you had to have a prop guard of some sort. But not a duct. So, like, you can't really fly it around people, around talent, because it's just a tiny little thin protector around the outside of the propellers. Like, it's just a lawsuit waiting to happen. You can't do it. You also can't really fly it inside because it's bigger, and without the vertical faces, it slides around more. So I don't know. It's just, you know, for those of you that aren't flying around Talent and want the Cinewhoop experience outside flying around trees and stuff, I can see it. I can definitely see it for that. Personally, I would rather just fly a freestyle rig around the trees, right? But if for some reason you want to have that guard, so you can, I guess, so that you can bump into stuff, yeah, it'll work for that. It'll work for that. But for me, other than like, I don't know, chasing like a low, like maybe if I was doing like, oh, you know what would be a good use for it? Chasing go-kart. Yeah, go-karts. Chasing go-karts at like an indoor place, they don't go much more than like 20, 25 miles an hour. That's not true. They'll go like 30 or 40. It boogies though. It's got those 2004s. It's got the 3.5-inch probs. It flies really good, but it doesn't fly as good as a freestyle rig. And you can't fly it around town like a Cinewhoop. It's you know, it's in this. You know what it's for? It's for FPV. It's for you guys, to be really honest, because you guys don't need a Cinewhoop. Cinewhoops are too slow for you guys. Cinewhoops are for people that are like working gigs, pretty much. You know, like you don't flying a Cinewhoop and while you're not being paid. Doesn't really make any sense to me. God, that sounds bad to say it, but it's true. It's true. Like, Cinewhoops are really only fun when you're on, like, a gig. Not necessarily being paid, but you guys know what I mean, right? Like, you can be giving it away for free, but there has to be, like, a story. There has to be a subject. There has to be, like a thing, and then it's still kind of boring. It's actually really not. It's actually it's really, really fun. In that specific setting, though, it's fun. You know, for me, there's also like pressure involved in that, and like stuff like that. So that also kind of makes it a little bit more fun. But I would never fly a Cinewhoop for fun, other than just to tune it. Whereas the Cinelog 35 and the 30 probably, those would be fun to rip around. Like, oh, you know what they'd be good for? Like a park where there are people. No. I don't know. Maybe. I think the Cinelog 30 would be better for that. Like a park where you, not like a park that's filled with people, like that's reckless, but like park flying where there's a good chance that there'll be somebody walking by. Can't do that with a 5-inch freestyle rig. In my opinion, you can do that with like a Ripsqueak, for example. But the Cinelog 30 or even the 35 would be a little bit less sketchy than this. It wouldn't fly as good as this, but it would be a little bit less sketchy than this because you can't really cut somebody. Like these propellers, like at full, like if I managed to somehow hit somebody at full throttle with that, they would bleed, right? I did. I bled from twice when a 3-inch rig got me, but you're not gonna kill them. Whereas with the Cinelog, I don't even think they're gonna bleed. And you've still got the same chance of their hair getting all tangled up in it. So yeah, I think maybe that's your use for it, Carbon Cage. Rob Axelson says Studio 1 or Studio 2, what will it be? You guys will there'll be an easy way to know. It's gonna be an Easter egg. I should probably not talk about it if it's an Easter egg. There will be a way for you to know which studio I'm in. I'll leave it at that. Rob Axelson also says the 6-minute intro has got to go. Was that a 6-minute intro? That was not a 6-minute battery, was it? It was a 4-minute and 47-second battery. Jesus. I mean, you can just fast forward through it. B-Man says the most epic thing on the trip to Rampage was that tower, dude. God damn. Yeah, that was pretty gnarly. That was really, really fun. For anybody that doesn't know what B-Man is talking about, I'm about to drop a donger on you. Drop a link on you. Ooh, Mark Rober's glitter package 4.0 is up. That's pretty cool. Someday, there we go. Here comes a link to a really cool dive. 1,100 foot tandem. Get shareable link. Tandem dive. All right. So tonight we're doing some things. We're gonna do some maintenance stuff potentially. We're gonna do mailbag. I didn't put that in. Mailbag is this. And we're gonna direct. Oh yeah, right. We're gonna direct solder. I'm gonna show you guys how to direct solder a damaged U.F.L. If you have a U.F.L. antenna or a pigtail and the little U.F.L. brass bastard rips off of it, I'm going to show you guys how to not throw that antenna away. And we're going to do it with this eSheen USB VTX, which works on the laptop. So at Maggie's place, I'm going to be able to fly in her front yard and around the house and dump that directly into OBS. And then YouTube will just bend it over and rape the shit out of it. And it'll probably look worse than me just pointing the camera at the monitor. So, you know, 84 people in here. Jesus, thanks for coming, friends. I'm trying to get caught up on the chat here. I gotta get real steady burning over here on the laptop though, so bear with me 1 second. And all right, cool. Oh, I forgot to drop the link on you guys. No, maybe I dropped, I don't know, whatever. I just did it again. Carbon Cage says, appreciate and respect your opinions. Thanks, bud. Absolutely. Frank Nicholas dropping the link to CiottiFPV.com. Crash Bandicoot, rather. CiottiFPV equals the PBS of FPV. I'll take it. 2011-12. Where's 2011-12? Oh, farts. I made that folder inside of another folder, didn't I? There it is. There it is. Hold on. I gotta move this over here. Will that work? No, that won't work. Shitballs. Stand by. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. If I don't do this, this folder will disappear till the dawn of time. There it is. Okay, that's good to go. Oh, look at the light over here. Ooh! Ooh! I changed my audio settings a little bit here. Maybe they're better? I don't know. As long as they're not worse. What's happening? Why can't my brain... Why can't I brain? Okay. Real Steady Go has begun. Carbon Cage says I'm down for the 101 tune soon. Sounds good. I moved this chair up, and I need to move the... Oh, I can just do this. Oh! I try to keep that that fan blade out of it. My big ass head keeps getting in the way. Is that better or worse? Did I get it? I think I got it. No! The other one came in. Stay out. Yeah, close enough. Now I know why I had my chair down so low. Oh, that's good. Oh, shit. Okay. Okay, it's almost gone. Okay, good enough. I don't know, man. Leave me alone. Don't leave me alone. I love you guys. Don't leave me alone. It'll get even weirder up in here. Cody SA says, have you tried shark bite? Thoughts? I have not tried shark bite. There is a shark bite sitting right here that actually FPV Exchange sent me like 6 months ago. I cannot, I've tried over and over and over again. I cannot find a good use for shark bite. Basically, the 500 milliwatt VTX was supposedly super underpowered and ultra fragile. Then I bought the 20 by 20 long without realizing that it's only 200 milliwatts, which doesn't do me any good. I need more than, I need 500 milliwatts. Like if I'm gonna test, even just to test it, yeah, I have to have more power than that. And it doesn't exist yet. So I can't really, I just can't justify, you know what I mean? I can't justify taking the time to set it all up, install it. All that being said, the next Ripsqueak that I build is going to have it, because I have to do something with that 200 milliwatt VTX. And on a micro, you can kind of argue that 200 milliwatts is enough. I try to run my micros at 200 milliwatts. Sometimes I turn them up to 400, because that's what the Ishi Nanos will do. But more often than not, I try to run them at 200, and usually it's fine. Because they're small and they don't cover a lot of ground. 200 milliwatts should be pretty good. And 200 milliwatts will go damn far. So, yeah, it will be tested soon, but that's why it hasn't been tested yet. T-Bird says Studio One has lamp. It's true. I'm having a hell of a time finding lava lamps for sale. They're not on I mean, I could just Google it, but they're not on Amazon anymore. I have somebody in mind that I'm getting one for. Looks nice in here. Looks good in here. June Loco says Studio 2 sucks for streaming. I'm gonna fix that. I'm gonna hardwire to Ethernet, which might be a little difficult because apparently that dock that I have is very flaky with Ethernet, but I'm gonna try it. And I spent a ton of time yesterday figuring out how to make OBS run better. And I also took some time to open OBS here on the laptop, here on the desktop, to look at what my settings are, because, you know, this has been running smooth for a long time. And I think I found another couple things that I didn't have quite right on one versus the other. The only test that I haven't done yet is the 720p test. EOS Rebel SL1. EOS Rebel SL1. What I can do is just look this camera up and see what its max video setting is. And that's going to tell me right here, which is... Oh, come on now. Yeah, tell me that... Canon. Really? With this is your website? Image sensor. Here we go. Why won't you give me the video information? Video shooting. Wow. Okay. It is 1080. I'll be damned. 1920 by 1080, 30 frames. Okay, so they're both... So both this and that T6 are outputting at 1080. I think this is outputting at 1080. Man, this desk is deep. It's hard to get... You guys want to see my crotch? Probably not. Well, you're about to. Oh, God. It's not on the screen. Hold on. Why won't it tell me? Oh, God. I'm pretty sure it's set on 1080. I would not have it on 720p 60. This is what you get around here. For anybody that's new, welcome. This is what I got. The people in the chat love it, and I don't know why, but I just keep doing it. License to Drive says, I received a 533 footy frame 2 days ago. It's really nice. I so far created for an Insta360 Go mount, 2 different arm guards, and a chin wheel. So I guess now that's like, that frame is like a known I'm still not going to show it. I'm not going to show the prototype until the full frame. Well, let's see. Hold on. Do they have images of the frame? 533 footy frame. Let's see. If there are pictures on the internet, I can show it to you guys. Oh, it's full blown for sale now. Okay, that's interesting. So this will be kind of cool if you guys want to. Oh, it's different looking. It's different looking for sure. Here you go. Evan sent this to me a while ago, and it's really heavy. And I just did not get around to building it. I feel like a total asshole. But there were a ton of people building these things. He had a big team working on them. Wow, it changed a lot. But yeah, this is the prototype that he'd sent me. Yeah, I should have found the time to build this out. But it's really heavy. And I've flown. I didn't know that it was that it was going to be this design. I don't, I've spent time with the Remix, and I just don't like this design of a frame. So all of those things just really sucked my will to live, and I never built it. But some really cool ideas run into it. And they had a big group of guys testing it, and there was a Facebook group with everybody in it. So they got tons of feedback, just none from me. I wish I could have found the time to build this out, but at 150 grams, I think maybe they lightened up the final version of it. Don't quote me on that, but a 150 gram frame that is not the geometry that I like. It was like, well, like I said, if I'd known those things before it had been sent, I would have told them that I wasn't interested. Which, I don't know, maybe that makes me a shit, but I do as many things as I can, and there's always a lot of extra stuff that I would love to do that I just, for whatever reason, can't find the time. It's not for whatever reason. It's because I practice as much self-care as I possibly can, and I give myself time to not work because that makes me a better person when I do work. So, yeah, I prioritize stuff as good as I can, and that's that. But it feels bad, it feels bad. I wanted to be involved in it. But I don't know. License to Drive says, I made a wheel-like bumper for the footy to try to prevent front carbon damage. I said it could be used as a wheel if I redesigned it with bearings. Evan Turner said I want it. Nice. Brandon's Big Bean says, I got myself in the neck with a 3-inch tadpole. Thought I was going to die. Just a little scratch. Did it bleed? Artem says, what would be the best setup for 2.5 FreeBot QAV, Pro/No Pro? So the 2.5-inch FreeBot QAV is drilled for 9x9 mount, so that really limits your motor options. My preferred motor, so that rig is also gonna be lifting some weight, right? So you got to get enough motor on it. So like a 1404 is not going to be enough. You want the RCX available from MyRC Mart, MYRCMART. The brand of the motor is RCX, and it's a 1306. You can either get it in 6,000 kV or 4,000 kV. I would actually get it in 6,000 kV, run it on 4S, and just motor limit it down in the PID tab. And then if you try to pick up a full-size GoPro with it, I bet you can put the motor limiting to 100%, and I bet you it would pick up a full-size GoPro. It's not really meant for that, but I bet you those motors at that 6,000 kV on 4S would be able to pick up a full-size GoPro. And then if you're not picking up a full-size GoPro, you could just motor limit them down to like 80%, 70%, and that thing will be rocking. Other option, if you don't want to order from my IRC Mart, is the iFlight 1504. The iFlight Zing 1504 in whatever the highest kV possible. Morton Upshot says, JB sent me. Glad to have you, Morton. Posted that like 20 minutes ago. B-Man says, keep saying you're dropping dongs on us. The number will drop. Chuck King FPV with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Chuck. Promised last week I'd change my password so I could send some doll hairs. Thank you for the knowledge. You're certainly welcome, Chuck King. Thank you for supporting the madness. FPV Trucker says, what's up from YouTube Did the Thing? Scrolling back up. What's up from beautiful Norfolk, Virginia? Very cool. Grizz FPV says, I slapped myself in the face with my rip squeak yesterday. Did it slap back? I assume it slaps back. Ruby Tim says, 1 watt VTX coming very soon for Sharkbite. Yeah, the problem is, I don't think it's going to fit. I don't think that 1 watt VTX is going to fit in my builds with the 15 mil standoffs. I'm going to try it. I'm going to try really hard to get it to fit. Typically on my glide builds, I run a 5mm spacer below the ESC. I'm going to drop that down to like 3mm or maybe even 2mm. I'm just going to slam that ESC down as low as possible. And then hopefully that thick ass 1 watt VTX can sit up on top. Man, it's probably going to be heavy though. I don't want 1 watt either. What I want is like 500 or 600, like a 500 or 600 watt small lightweight VTX. Not even 2020, but if it's 2020, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, because the cold hard fact here is that I'm not gonna buy a dozen of those 1 watt VTXs for all these rigs. I'm really, man, I don't know. Maybe I'll get one and test it, but I don't know. Ghost, friends. Somebody on... So one of the perks of joining my Discord for $3 whole a month, that's 10 cents a day. There are a million perks, but one of the perks is access to 2 Facebook groups. Micro King's Castle with CiottiFPV and a for sale group. CiottiFPV, whatever, shit for sale. So that you guys, because you know each other, can sell shit to each other and trade shit to each other in that Facebook group. And somebody listed Ghost with 3 little receivers. Where are the receivers? Here they are. With 3 of the tiny little receivers. So I said to hell with it. And here's the best thing about Ghost. Ready? Here's my favorite thing about Ghost. This is my favorite thing about Ghost. Watch my video. Thumbnail. Watch me. Watch me. Don't watch these other people on YouTube. Watch me. Wee. This is my... Whee! This is the best thing about it. Not the best thing. This is my favorite thing about it. White radio. White module. This is the only reason I bought it. That's not true. White. Ignore this. Hold on, this looks asinine like this right now. Oh shit, well I need to charge this battery anyway. Oh, that's it, that's why I got it. Now, I got it because it's white. I'm not gonna lie. I'm lying. I bought it because I can flash ELRS on it. This, in my opinion, is the problem right now with ELRS is that the companies that are making the hardware are horrible companies and make shitty hardware that's not really trustworthy. Immersion RC is a great company that makes great quality hardware. This Ghost module, from what I've heard, can be flashed with ELRS. So I think what I'm gonna do is like update it, leave it as Ghost, put it on one of the 2 Basher freestyle rigs, and head-to-head it with Crossfire. And then I will be more than likely ripping it apart. Not ripping it apart, but taking that out of that quad to put it back onto Crossfire. And this is going to get flashed with ELRS. And this radio, so this is the radio that I've been using forever. All of the switches are just worked. All of these switches, like they rotate, and like they're mushy as hell. And like, yes, you can buy replacement switches from Aloft, and I have. This is actually a fresh switch in here. But it's kind of annoying to swap the switches out, and the screen's got a big crack in it. And it's the original QX7. It's not the QX7S. Recently, I was able to snag an ACCST, the old school QX7S, that the guy I guess had never used, because like you can always tell by the switches. The switches are just like the day that they were born. So this is going to become my primary radio, and with a black module. It's important. And this is going to become my Tiny Whoop radio. I wish there was a way to like have dual like Ghost and ELRS, but whatever. I am going to wait for ELRS 2.0 though, because the screen on this thing is OLED apparently, and the current ELRS does not work with OLED screens. So it's perfect because I'm not really ready to go down that rabbit hole quite yet. So yeah, I'll wait for ELRS 2.0. Also, you know, ELRS is still relatively new, and quite honestly, I just feel a little bit more comfortable waiting a little bit for it. So, yeah, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be really good. I am, and I'm also gonna put Edge TX on one of these. But yeah, I just need to get this into. I need to get that hooked up to OpenTX. I think there's a way to back it up top to bottom, and then I'll put this in there and I'll load it onto this, and it'll be identical to that. And yeah, I can start using a fresh radio. And the QX7S has these canted away. On the QX7 they're stood straight up. On this one they're canted away, which is good for me because I got these big long fingers, and my knuckle on the regular QX7 hits this switch. It's no good. So I actually removed this switch, and there's just a hole there. Other than that, I'll put some Tweed FPV transmitter grip tape grips on it, of course, and have a fancy new faux carbon fiber. I'll put some stickers on it, of course, and pee my pants. So some cool transmitter content is coming. I prefer the QX7 because of the shape and the size. It's the only transmitter that these big long hands and fingers work right with. Ramdonko says, would a bi-blade prop work better on your ceiling fan? It would. It would save electricity. It would be a lot louder though. Brandon's Baked Bean says they have lava lamps at my Home Depot. Home Depot! So I got the feel. So when you go on Amazon, you search for lava lamp, you can't really get them. So I had this funny feeling that they licensed to somebody. And it sounds like they licensed to Home Depot. Thanks for that tip, Brandon. FPV says I fly shark bite in 200 and it's decent range depending on noise in the area. Very cool. So hopefully this ripscoop will be good. Big Willie says Spencer's gifts for lava lamps. Of course. Of course. Spencer's gifts. Of course. I don't know why the hell. I used to go into Spencer's gifts just to stare at the lava lamps. And the dildos. Rodney says this, that, and the other on Cobb Parkway in Marietta used to have a bunch of lava lamps. That's where I get all mine from. This, that, and the other. It's a cool name for a place. Crotch Cam says the menace. Grizz FPV says, CiottiFPV, it is outputting 1080. How do you know that, Grizz? How do you know that? 661 says, you have proto footage? I do not. I never built it. Double A says, good evening. YouTube just did the thing. Scrolling back up. Come on, YouTube. Stop being a jerk. Double A says, good evening. Brandon's Baked Bean says, the 3-inch to the neck definitely bled, but it was like getting snagged by a thorny bush. Nothing serious. Okay. Yeah, I really am a firm believer that 3-inch rigs are, and I guess you could say 3.5-inch rigs. I think that's like the end of safety. Which makes sense because that's right at 250 grams. I think there was, I think the 250 gram all up weight is a great stopping point. You know, we're safe below it. Beyond it, like, not safe with people. Bambi says Crossfire Nano VTX, 1 watt and small. Analog only though. We were talking about Shark Bite, which is a digital link. Ramdonko says anti-electro tape. What were we talking about? Anti-electro tape. You talking about the Kapton tape, Ramdonko? Dan636 says I have one frame that I fly that could fit a Shark Bite VTX, and I just can't justify it. Yeah, that's the other problem. They keep making these VTXs that are like asinine sizes that don't fit in anything. Like, I tried to put that 500 milliwatt VTX into the Glide, and it literally won't fit. It would have fit in the Cinesplorer, but then I start hearing that it performs like a 200 milliwatt VTX, and I can't have that. I can't have a Cineroot whoop that I'm going to use for work, with a, you know, with 200, the equivalent of 200 milliwatts. 661 FPV says, you know, you can put ELRS on that Ghost, right? I do indeed. Bambi says I meant Crossfire Unify Nano. Crossfire. Yeah. We're I think we're good. 661 says ELRS is a one-way trip on that Ghost. Yeah, I heard that. Might have been you that told me that in the past, 661. That's why I want to, you know, test it first. That's why I didn't say I'm gonna put ELRS on it right away. So yeah, I'm gonna test it as it is at first, and then look at these little rubber duckies. Look at these little devils. And then I will snarfle the Garthog. Anybody get that quote? Anybody know what that's from? Chris Croft says you can flash it to ELRS, but it's a one-way trip, as you can't flash back to Ghost. EDoc says, make sure to update OpenTX so you get Ghost Protocol natively on the radio. Well, that's interesting. That means that I have to plug... I love that, because that means I have to plug my transmitter into OpenTX in order for it to use Ghost. So that's perfect. When I do that, I'll back it up and kill 2 birds with 18 stones. EDoc says, oh, we got that. Frank Nicholas says, once you flash the Ghost hardware, they can't go back. 661 says, ELRS 2.0 is out now. Fuck, really? All right, well, then my other excuse is I need to build something with ELRS in it. It's going to be a tiny whoop. I'm hoping that someone other than Happy Model and Beta FPV will come out with an ELRS 1S Tiny Whoop AIO. It would be totally pointless to flash this to ELRS right now, because I'm just using ELRS for the Tiny Whoops. 2.4 ELRS I'm only using for the Tiny Whoop. 900 megahertz ELRS down the road, if once there's a good module that can do it, we'll see. At the rate that ELRS is improving, yeah, I have a feeling that 6 months from now it'll be the only link worth having, but we'll see. Morton Upshot just built 2.0 this evening. Morton says, I just built 2.0 this evening. Do you mean you just installed it, or Morton, are you the ELRS dev? If you are the ELRS dev, welcome. Thanks for all your hard work. Holy cow. Amazing. 661 says, just keep Ghost on Ghost firmware. Get a $30 Happy Model ELRS TX module. No. I mean, I'm not going to have all these different firmwares. You know, a good deal came up on this. I can probably sell these receivers for damn near what I bought this whole thing for. And yeah, like I'm just not gonna use Ghost. I'm gonna stay on 900 for my for all my working rigs, because in my opinion, there is just less garbage on the 900 megahertz spectrum than there is on the 2.4 spectrum. And 900 megahertz, that wavelength is always going to outperform the 2.4 wavelength. And yeah, I will do anything I possibly can to not lose my control link. So yeah, that's my choice. I'm not saying anybody else should do that, but you know, that's the top priority for me. Is just, yeah, as long as I can keep control of the rig, even if I lose video, there's a good chance that I can bring it home, or at least not hurt somebody that I'm, you know, potentially flying around or towards or whatever. Frank Nicholas says, if both of your radios store everything on the micro SD card, just copy source to the destination, backup done, assuming same firmware version. I don't think I store everything to the SD card. Pretty sure that I don't, actually. 661FPV says, also I still run 1.2 ELRS because SPI Whoop boards aren't supported in ELRS. 2.0 yet. 1.2 works with SPI Whoops. Well, I guess that'll change with firmware. I hope that'll change with firmware. I hope that's not a hardware limitation. It can't be. No. Yeah, no. Okay. Never mind that facepalm. That was the facepalm of, oh my god, we're fucked already. But it's, no. Leadfinger says, can you post your filters for the Ripsqueak with the big Chonker X Nova motors? I'm getting a lot of noise on roll and it's messing up my PID toolbox tuning. If you're getting a lot of noise on roll, my guess is going to be that the gyro might be shitting the bed, or drop your P and D gains down on the roll axis. But getting a bunch of noise and nonsense on one axis but not the other is typically a pretty good indication that your gyro is failing. That is typically how gyros fail, is they'll fail on one axis and not the other. Changing your filtering isn't going to do anything for this. Like, the filtering and the pit, less so the pits, but the filtering is blanket. You know, the filtering applies to pitch, roll, and yaw. So it's pretty unlikely that just on the roll axis you'd be getting noise, which is why I say to go for the pits. Also, like, my filtering is not anything exciting. It's pretty kind of standard fare UAV Tech filtering, which Mark has all over his website. It's pretty close to stock. I mean, if you want to rule it out, just go back to stock filtering. Go to completely stock filtering, and if it's still doing that shit, the gyro is blown up for sure. So yeah, filtering isn't going to really do anything specifically on roll, but maybe you've got too much P and D gain on the roll axis. So drop them down 5 or 10 points and see if it gets any better. My guess is it's going to get a little better, but not properly better. And 661 says there's bots in here. Who's a bot? Moz, did you take care of it already? I think you already took care of it. Thank you. CMYK is in the house. Bambi says, I joined halfway through the stream. Ramdonko says, you mentioned fitting a board low, so I thought I'd pop my 2 cents in with electro tape. Ah, got it, Ramdonko. Good idea. Bambi is saying bad words, 661. Okay, so Bambi is potentially a bot. Whatever, it's fine. Bot it up, Bambi. I don't know. RC Quads for the win, says Coneheads. Look at that. RC Quads, I think you're the only one that got it. Yeah. I think RC Quads is the only one that actually got that. I don't even remember what the reference was. Frank Nicholas says, you do not need to connect transmitter OpenTX PC to update OpenTX. See Bartolo's tutorials for the quick and dirty. I prefer to do it. I should have probably explained this, but I try to plug my transmitter into OpenTX on the desktop here at least a couple times a year so that I can back it up and I've got a backup on the computer in a totally safe spot. So if the radio shits the bed or I lose it and have to get another one or whatever, I can 661 smooth is done. Let's go to 662. Yeah, I can just plug it in, back it up, away we go. Similar philosophy to, if you use cloud backups for all your computer data, don't just have that. Like, you always want to back shit up in 2 locations. And if possible, one of them outside of the building from you. So, yeah, I don't know. I just try to have that philosophy with as many things as I can in life. Lock horizon and a little bit less smoothness. Okay. And away it goes. 661 FPV says, yes, build a tiny whoop with ELRS, but run 1.2 ELRS firmware. I'll bet you by the time there's a tiny whoop AIO that is what I want. I'm guessing the 2.0 firmware, there just aren't targets for it yet, I'm assuming. Is that the deal? Whatever. Chris Croft says, ELRS over SPI is a pain due to requiring it to be in beta flight. Are you kidding me? Maybe I'll run an external ELRS receiver, because they're only like 1.2 grams or some shit, right? Morton Upshot says, no, sorry, just did the firmware build to Flash tomorrow. I'm not an ELRS dev. Gotcha. Frank Nicholas says, ask around, look at others who are earning a living flying quads. Everyone who mentions frequency in the US are using 2.4. Ask around. Interesting. Everybody that I know is still on Crossfire. I mean, I know there's a bunch of freestyle pilots, but I'm not a freestyle pilot. I don't know. I have Crossfire installed on everything. And Bardwell is an RF engineer, and he says that the 900 megahertz wave is gonna just perform better, and that's enough for me. So nothing against you, Frank, but I trust Bardwell over pretty much everyone and anyone when it comes to RF. Athix FPV says, I'll have a 3-inch Gank Multi-Rotors Nemesis on ELRS and let you know how it is versus Crossfire. Very cool, Athix. That's a cool frame. I really wish that frame was removable arm. I would be all over that frame if it was removable arm setup. Frank says, what's stored on the micro SD card is based on the model of the radio. Generally, you don't have a choice of where to store items if there's a micro SD card present. Interesting. Okay. For a long time, though, I didn't have an SD card in my transmitter, so I guess I'm on a radio that doesn't store everything on there. EEDoc says the issue with Express LRS is by the time you complain about something, the devs have fixed it by the time you complete the sentence. Paul Montana says, any tips for indoor 3-inch cinema footage in small spaces? Buddy's Airbnb trying to get some footage in and lost. LOL. It's pretty tough. Lightweight. Absolutely anything you can do to save weight. I've done indoor house tours with the Cinesplores, and it requires every molecule of my flying skill. That is some of the most challenging flying I've ever done in almost 5 years of doing this. So, yeah, as lightweight as you can possibly get the rig, and you want the tallest ducts possible. So, yeah, you just want it to be shit slow, as slow as possible. And then it's just going to come down to piloting skill. It's going to be 98% piloting skill and 2% the rig. But you can definitely help yourself out. Really maximize that 2% by getting the weight down as low as you possibly can on that rig. And again, try to have as tall ducts as you possibly can. Some rigs, there are different duct options on Thingiverse and whatnot. It's a really good question, actually. 661 FPV says, people saying Vark Tech. Scroll up. People saying Vark Tech. I think the mods already took care of it. Leadfinger says, the Ripsqueak with the X-Nova motors and the 850 mAh batteries flies just like a 5-inch rig. You killed it with that build list. Super fun. Yeah, those X-Novas are things of beauty. And my favorite thing about the X-Nova 1804s is how strong they are. They are just so goddamn durable. And even with an HD camera on board, they just love it. This rig, I've realized that the version 1 Ripsqueak frame is a little bit better because of the camera cutout on the top plate for the Runcam Hybrid. You can actually, on the version 2 frame, you have to run a 30mm standoff. It fits so much better in the version 1 frame with the cutout that looks like that, that you can actually run 28mm standoffs. So I'm actually going to take this rig with the 1804s, and I'm going to put it back into a version 1 frame. And I think, unfortunately, that's going to kill my ability to run 3.5-inch props, but that's okay. That's not the end of the world. Because these T-Motor 3140s, these are the prop. At some point, a 3.5-inch, the Gemfan 3520s are great, but that's a 20 pitch. This is a 40 pitch. So this just has way more speed that makes it, I don't know. These props are also like damn near indestructible. I really love these propellers, which is the biggest part of this decision. But basically, I'm gonna have V1, 3 V1 rip squeaks with RunCam hybrids in them for testing. And then I'm going to have one V2 that's the Insta360 Go carrier. But I'm going to now build another V2 rip squeak with shark bite in it. And that'll also be for carrying around the Insta360 Go. And that'll probably be it. And one of those V1 rip squeaks at some point, once I get all this testing done, motor testing, prop testing, all this other shit, one of those will probably just kind of hang out on the wall. But we'll see. We'll see. RC Quads for the win says, Narfle the Garthog. He gets it. He knows what's up. Frank Nicholas says, if you connect radio to computer 1 or 2 times a year to back it up, then you're failing. That's not enough. I kind of disagree. I don't really change anything on my transmitter. So most of the time when I plug it in, I realize like I don't even need to back it up. Computer data is something totally different, but yeah, transmitter, I hardly ever change it. I mean, I specifically try to not change shit on there because OpenTX is just such a pain in the ass. I actually can't remember the last time I changed something on that on my transmitter. I haven't backed it up in a while because I just, it's been over a year since I've changed anything on that transmitter. You know, once you get a couple models set up, a Crossfire model, a D8 model, a D16 model, that's kind of it. I used to have individual models for each one of my rigs, and I would use, because I would use the timer, the built-in timer in the radio for audible alerts, but I haven't done that. I should, because it's a really good thing to do. It doesn't take much time, but I haven't done that in a long time, and I probably won't, because you know the warnings flashing on screen are kind of enough. Frank says backups are 3-2-1, 3x copies, 2x local original backup, 1x offsite. That's a cool, not acronym. It's kind of a number version of an acronym. I like that. ELRS receivers with ceramic antennas are 1 gram. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of for the Tiny Whoop. I can probably stick it to the back of the. I'll put it in the same spot that I have the B-Seaver right now. 661FPV says. YouTube just did the thing. 661FPV says yes. There's a 2.0 nightly build for SPI boards. But you have to run 2K PID loop right now. It will be supported soon. There we go. Bambi says, Ciotti, what's your go-to 3-inch quad? It's these rip squeaks. Lots and lots and lots of content on the channel. Live streams with these rip squeaks. They're magic. They are magic. Bambi, if you want me to see if anybody else that's new, if you want me to see your comments, type CiottiFPV, and then it'll light up in orange. Here's what it looks like when you... Really, OBS? Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay. And... Oh, shit. Oh, nope. Oh. This is what it looks like when you do that. If you type CiottiFPV, you don't have to type the @ C661, just type CiottiFPV. It'll light up in orange for me. I know all other streamers say, don't @ me. But I say, do @ me if you want to talk directly to me. Metaldirton says, I put ELRS AIO in my OG 65mm toothpick, and it really resurrected it. I forget how much fun that little thing was. Yeah, I can't wait to build a... I have a full toothpick build just sitting over there. I'm really looking forward to it. Ramdonko says, bots just getting into ELRS. Pav did a bit on it. What does that mean? Bots just getting into... Bot? Like bot grinder? Like DJ? Is just getting into ELRS? But then why did Pav do a bit on bot getting into ELRS? I'm confused. Frank Nicholas says, 2.4 gigahertz, NERC, Bardwell, etc. are going to 2.4. Bardwell recently said he's moving to 2.4. He won't use 900 megahertz ELRS. Wow. Oh, shit. Yeah, I don't know NERC. And I didn't realize Bardwell did that. Those are two big names, that's for sure. Layman Board says to update the ELRS firmware on AIO Whoop board, you may have to update the entire beta flight for the firmware. Yeah, it's fine. It'll be fixed by the time somebody comes out with an AIO that I buy. Paul McDonald says, I got no chance yet. What do you mean, Paul? What was I talking about at 11:02? Chris Croft says, Bardwell just said yes, 900 megahertz will outperform 2.4, but they all way outperform your 5.8 gig video. Very true, but so here's an example. Here's an example of where outrunning your video, of where you fly up to the top of a building where there's nothing for your signal to bounce off of, and you go a little bit too far over the ledge, but maybe there's like maybe there's some tiny little thing for your signal to bounce off of. Yes, you're gonna lose video, but as soon as you lose the video and you go full throttle, if you still have link, you will get out of that situation, and you will get your quad back and the footage back, and you won't be that guy that's on the news from a quad falling 100 stories and killing someone. I want my transmitter link to outrun my video by 1,000 miles. I will literally do anything. I will make any sacrifices. It's not true. Within reason, I will make. I don't even have to make sacrifices. 900 is going to go farther. That's more important to me than a couple of milliseconds in latency. I fly a very latent rig anyway. I use a lot of stick smoothing, and that adds a good amount of latency. So for me, the latency is not as big of a deal. And just from a safety standpoint, and from a wanting to get my GoPro back and my rigs back and not, be that guy, I will 100% of the time choose the link that's going to outperform on distance, regardless of whether or not I have video. It's happened to me too many times to count, and it's just something that's really important to me because of how I fly, where I fly, stuff like that. I'm definitely not saying that anybody else should stay on 900, but for me, I will stay on 900 until Google Sidewalk or whatever the hell it is, if they ever ruin the 900 megahertz band. Scrolling. Ooh, I might get caught up on the chat. No way. Paul McDonald says, thanks, man. You're certainly welcome. Practically says, the point about Bardwell's statement on 900 megahertz versus 2.4 is TX link range is 100x video length. Yet, yes, 900 megahertz might reach further than 2.4, but you'll never hit the limit of 2.4. Well, I mean, I've hit the limit of 900, so I'll definitely hit the limit of 2.4. But yeah, video, I don't care about video. If I lose video, that's fine. Right before you lose video, you're going to be, alright, so I can't say this for everybody, but when I fly, I look very far ahead. This is an old thing that I used to teach in motorsport. One of the ways to get a lot faster is to look where you want to go rather than where you are. And one of the ways that, like, if I had a student that was really, like, cheating and looking down, they wouldn't look up and ahead. This is a trick from Evo Autocross School. You actually masking tape the entire bottom of the windshield, so they literally can't look down. They can only look out. And you wouldn't believe how quickly students start going faster with the bottom half of their windshield completely blocked out, because when you're looking farther ahead, you get enough information, and then you can just in your mind picture the cone or the racetrack or the curbing or whatever it may be, and you're good to go. So that's something that's like hardwired into my brain, is to look really far ahead, right? So when I lose video, I've already been looking really far ahead. So for at least 2 or 3 seconds, I know exactly where I'm going. Now, if I'm traveling towards something that's moving, sure, it could be a problem. You know, maybe they'll make an unexpected movement when I don't have video and I hit them in the face. But usually when I lose video, it's not that situation. So yeah, I really doubt I'll ever fly 2.4. Ramdonko says Pavel Spachowski. What about him, Ram? I forget what we were talking about. I go on these rants and I get all excited. Chris Croft says, so in Wes's range test, ELRS at 250 at 135. I know, that was wild. That was wild. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Eventually somebody will do range test of, I don't know. 900 is 900 is whatever. I've run out of steam. Yeah, that range test was wild. Absolutely wild. JT Custom Knives says, so you're saying I should put masking tape across the bottom half of my FPV camera only if you're only gonna fly upright. If you're only gonna fly level, then you get away with that. Yeah, looking ahead is a big deal. When I do the it's something that I hammer most people on when I do the flight instruction on the internet through my Fiverr page over on CiottiFPV.com. Yeah. Look at that, we're caught up. Let's do a little bit of soldering. So, your U.F.L. connector has ripped off of your antenna. That little brass guy has ripped off. Or on your VTX, you've ripped off the other side of this. All right. In either one of those scenarios, you can hardwire your U.F.L. cable directly to the VTX. And I'm going to use this little eSheen VTX to USB, hopefully, to show you how to do that. It's all going to depend on whether or not I can get this guy off of here. So the first thing you need to know is that these are all very simple. They are ground in the middle, and then just signal on the outside. Each side is the same. Ground in the middle, everything else on the outside. So first things first, let's see if I can get this guy off of here. Because if I can't get this off of here, I will just explain to you the deal. Because, yeah, there's no other option. But I have a feeling I'll be able to get this off. So let's see. I'm going to take... Oh, God. I'm going to take these spring-loaded tweezers, and I'm going to put them... So I'm going to do this standing up. I'm going to stand this thing up like this, and I'm going to let these guys hang and pull on this. So that if it releases, it'll just fall right the hell off. Alright. Soldering iron is up to temperature. Clean the tip. I put a bunch of flux on there. I'm going to tin the soldering iron. And here we go. And I'm going to try to bridge all three of these guys. Put heat into all three of them. Oh, and I can also kind of push down on this. There it goes. Cool. All right. So that popped right off. That's fantastic. And as you can see in there, the ground is in the middle. See that the ground is in the middle, and that lines up with that middle peg, right? That middle peg just goes right down the middle, and there it is on... Ow! Okay. Didn't expect that. I don't know why. And now here we go. We've got ground in the middle, and then signal on the outside. So, take this antenna off. Ow. Ow. The majority of the work that you're going to have to do is on this U.F.L. cable. This little U.F.L. cable is rubber, like isolating, whatever, and then signal, which is a braid. It's a silver braid, and then plastic insulation, and then ground in the middle. Is ground in the middle? I guess it's signal in the middle. It doesn't matter. But that's what it is. It's rubber, braid, plastic, metal in the middle. The metal in the middle needs to go to the center pad. The braid around the outside needs to go to the outside pads. It's not that it's you got to do a little bit of work. You'll see. You'll see. So I'm gonna set this up. So the reason that I'm doing this is this is made by Eachine, and those dirty bastards always use RP SMA. But I want to use regular SMA because I want to put a patch antenna on this that I already have to really shoot this out the window so that you guys get good video when I'm flying out in front of Maggie's house and around Maggie's house for that matter. So we are going to cut this as close to the little U.F.L. connector as possible, and then we're just going to pull off a little bit of the shrimp wrap here. Am I going to want to shrimp wrap this? It's going to be there. It's going to be kind of there. No, I'm not going to want to shrimp wrap this. Okay, so you gotta kind of use your brain for a second. Because of the layering, oh, shitters. Because of the way that this is layered, you gotta use your brain for a second. You gotta be able to leave enough of the center core to connect to that middle pad, but then you also need to expose the braid. So I'm actually just thinking about it in my head right now. So if the center core is that long, realistically, okay. So I'm going to... All right, so here's how you do it. You look at the amount of area that you have on your pads, all right? And then you lay the wire down, and you need to notch the silicone at the maximum distance there, right? So I just marked that distance. So I'm going to come in here, and all you're trying to do with this cut is get through the outer silicone plastic. You don't want to nick the metal braid when you're doing this. So just gentle, just run it around, and all you're trying to do is leave a dent in that outer sheathing, and then you're going to pull that sheathing off with your fingernail, hopefully. Be ultra gentle, and then if you didn't leave a big enough dent, you can come in and do it again. But what you don't want to do is be rough with it and nick the braid. Don't nick the braid. So you just leave a little dent in this outer clear silicone, and you try to rip it off with your fingernail. I didn't quite get deep enough. So I'm going to come back in, and I'm just going to put a little bit more pressure on it. Just keep going around. Oh, nope, there it is. It is starting to come off. It is starting to come off. I can see the... So this outer sheath... There it is. This outer sheathing is kind of a pink color. And the reason that it's a pink color, not many of you guys know this, I'll bet. I dropped it, but it's a pink color because in the 1800s, actually, when they invented shrink wrap, shrink is the Americanized cheeseburger version of it. It was actually called shrimp wrap at first, and that's why it's a little bit pink. Because the company that makes U.F.L. antennas, they're still near where the shrimping boats are. So they don't use our newfangled shrink wrap. They use the old school shrimp wrap, which, you know, is aptly named. It's the shells of shrimp, and then you manufacture it, and then it shrinks up. So that's why it's pink. All right. The outside braid is shielding. That's what it is. Thank you, JT Custom Knives. CMYK says the worst. Okay, so now, and again, the length of the outer sheathing that we remove needs to be the same length as the total amount of pad area that you've got, and you'll see why in a minute. So now, what we need to do is take half of this braid. Oh, you know what? I did this wrong. I should have cut this outer sheathing twice. God damn it. This is gonna be. Can I even do this? The problem is trying to cut this shielding. All right, no. I did this wrong. You have to cut the outer part twice. All right. So I'm going to cut this halfway. All right. So what I meant to say was measure out the total distance that you've got on your pads and then halve it. Half that distance, because you want to have half of the distance for the inner core and half of the distance for the braid. So cut it in half of the distance, and then you take this braid and you fan it out like this, because you need to cut it. You need to cut it off. That's why I had to cut it down, because you need the outer part of the shrimp wrap to be here so that you can fray this shit out and then cut it. And now you can start to see the inner plastic. All right? So this is where you want to be. This is where you want to be with it. Come on, you bastard. Come on, man! Do something! Well, hopefully you guys can see it. All right, so now you got to cut all this shielding off. So come on in there and just kind of go around and just chop, chop, chop. Chop, chop, chop. And the more of it that you can get off, the better. Chop, chop, chop. All right, we're getting there. And so what you want it to look like when you're done with it is something like this. All right, that's about there. Let me just take a quick look. Just use my fingernail to try to get any more of the little strands of shielding sitting straight out so I can cut them off. A little bit here that I can get. And there's some on this side. Okay. So you have now removed a bunch of that shielding. So this is what you now want it to look like. And now's the part where you can fuck it all up. All right, I can't. The Logitech is just. They're gonna kill me, guys. They're gonna be the death of me. Auto. There. That's what you want it to look like now. All right. So now what you're seeing is the plastic second level of insulation that's covering up the inner core. So now what you want to do is just get rid of this plastic bit. So you got to be extra gentle now, because if you cut all the way through it, you got to do this shit all over again. So I'm just removing a couple more of the little strands here. All right, so now you're going to turn your pliers vertical like this, and you're going to do the same thing. You're just going to notch it, and then you're going to try to pull on it with your fingernail. All right, so we're going to come up here and just real gentle. Notch, 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 notch. And it's always better to do too little rather than too much. But I got it just right. So, now we have exposed the inner core, which is the actual antenna. Not just the shielding. And I'm going to show you that in 1 second. Oh, shit. I had it focused all jacked up. Well, it's fine. So this is now where we're at. That is just the core sticking out there. All right? So now that little part of the core that we just exposed is going to get soldered to the center pad. And because of the distance, I'm going to be able to solder it to the front of this middle pad. All right, I'm going to be able to solder this down to the front half of this pad. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a little bit of this shrimp wrap here on the outside to expose the braid. And then the braid, I'm going to solder down to the outside pads. And that's it. That's how you direct solder a U.F.L. antenna. I highly recommend you use your 5X loop when you're doing this stuff, as I'm going to right now. Because you want to make sure that those outer shielding wires are not going in and touching those the actual antenna wires from the core. And you also want to take a look and make sure you didn't nick any of those core wires, because there's only a couple of them. I can see 6. It looks like there's 6 little tiny inner core wires. So I'm good. My outer shielding braid is not touching the inner wires, and I'm just getting those inner wires straightened out. All right, cool. So now we need to do the same thing again. Notch this outer pinkish shrink wrap, but this time we're not going to cut that braid, the shielding. We're going to solder that shielding down. So this is actually the last step with our cutters. So we're just going to come in here, and we're just going to double the distance. I mean, you can size it up at this point on your pads, or you can just kind of double the distance. Sometimes the middle pad will be shifted forward. I think if you rip off a regular U.F.L. connector, I think that the middle pad will be shifted forward. So this makes a lot more sense. This board, though, is set up for these wacky connectors. So that's probably not, I probably didn't dent that enough, but let's just give it a shot. Yeah, it's not even close. So now again, it's really important not to nick that braiding. You just want to push through the rubber itself. And you really just want to dent it so that you can dig your fingernail in and rip it. and you'll start to see it get a little bit silver and a little bit less pink, and there we go. It just came off. Look, guys, it's pink, just like the shrimp that it was derived from. You know? So now this is our final product here. I'm gonna burn you. I'm gonna burn you in a fire, Logitech. So this is the final product. Where is it? There it is. That you're going to solder up the. Oh wait, here I can do this. You're gonna. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. You're gonna solder that little center piece to the middle pad, and then that braid there to the outer pads. So let's do that real quick, and then we'll have a functioning. Hopefully I didn't blow it up. All right, autofocus is back. Let's get it going. I'm going to use my 5X loop again to make sure that that outer braid is not touching the center, and it actually just barely is. When I pulled the shrimp wrap off, it pushed these wires back in here. So I am just going to pull them out a little bit here. No big deal. Just a little adjustment. It's a little too close for comfort on this side. So I'm just going to pull this out a little bit. We're going to dump solder on this, which is going to hold it all together. So it doesn't matter if it's kind of ugly. It's going to be smooth. It's going to be a smooth, shiny ball by the time we're done here. And this is looking pretty good. Okay. That's the stuff. Just gotta move this one here. It's worth taking an extra second to do this, because this is kind of like, once you solder this down, it's a real pain in the ass. All right, so we're good. Let me tin this up. These pads are already kind of tinned. Soldering iron is, oh wow, it's still at 700. Cool. So I'm going to put a little bit of fresh solder on these pads real quick, and then we're going to tin this, and then we're going to zap it on down. Ready? So fresh. This is also putting some leaded solder on here, which is good. All right. So those pads have some fresh solder. Now I'm going to tin the inner part first. And then we're going to tin the outer bit. Don't go too nuts on tinning the outer bit, because you don't want a big blob of solder to then connect the outer bit to the inner bit. You just want to get a little bit of solder on there so that you can, so that you don't have to add solder when you're on the pads. All right, that looks gorgeous. And actually, you know what? Now that there's some solder on here, I can probably one or two of these little strands is a little bit too long. And now that they're covered in solder, I can just come in here and snip them. I know you guys can't see me doing this, but there's not a whole lot to see, if I'm honest. Just cutting some of these little individual strands. And okay, I'm happy with that. Let me just do one more little tweak here. That's better. There we go. Yeah. All right, great. Cool. So now we're gonna I need to, as soon as I put heat on here, let's start the outside first. All right, what I actually need to do is remove half of this center pad. Ooh, this just became a lot more confusing. I think about this for a second. Man, this is going to be... I'm not totally sure how to explain this either. I need to insulate... Oh, I remember. You got to take these and fray them outwards. That's right. Well, shit, I should have left them long. I could have left them long. Ah, damn it. I forgot what I was doing. And now I've got solder on here, which makes it way harder to split these out. What I need to do is take the sheathing wires and fray them outwards. I completely forgot about this. It might be too late-ish because there's all this solder on here. But let me see what I can do with solder wick. Let's see. Let's see how much of this the solder wick will pull off of there. So I'm actually untinning this, so to speak. And it took a lot. Jesus. Okay. This might be doable. Might be doable and passable. Not yet. I need to take a little bit more. Let's try a little more. I will also turn this over, so we'll come at the other side this time. All right. Let's see what happens here. It picked up a little bit more. All right, so let's see. Will I be able to fan these guys out? I don't think so. I think they're too stubborn. Yeah, once they get that solder on them, they get really hard. Shit! I am going to have to do this all over again. Well, not all over again, but... Well, wait, yeah, all over again. Okay, so I screwed that up. Usually when you do it, the center pad is farther forward. That's how I'm used to doing it. But in this case, it's not. So I'm just going to do this quick. I can actually do a full cut this time, right? And then half. Yeah, so I can do a full cut this time. So here it is in fast forward. You figure out the length of the joint, mark it with your thumb, come in, notch the outer sheathing. Go around, gentle, gentle, gentle. Just want to notch it so you can rip it off with your fingernail. All right, we went around, fingernail, dig in, pull, good to go. Now you're actually going to take this braiding and you're going to pull, oh, the solder traveled up the wire. Oh, it did indeed. So now what you do is throw this away and grab the other one that you had. Yeah, that solder traveled really far up that wire. And now I can't get the metal sheathing. Sorry, the shielding braid to separate. So cut your U.F.L. off. It's probably already been ripped off. Expose this little bit. Come back here, measure your length of the pads. Notch it. This is the way to do it if all 3 pads are the same length that you're soldering to, which I've never seen before. This is, well, it's only going to be if you pull one of these off, basically. Any board that you're soldering to that has the SMA directly on the board, this is how you're going to do it. The previous way that I was showing you is how you're going to do most of your VTXs. This is pretty rare, that there, for us at least, that there's an SMA, one of these, you know, direct on PCB SMA things. Come on. There we go. All right, cool. So now we've got braid. We are going to separate this braid in half. We're going to pull half of it to the left, half of it to the right. So just keep going at it. Got to break it right down the middle. Try to get it as even as possible. Left and right. You want to get as much of it as you can. Well, you need to get all of it, realistically. You really need to separate it because this braid can't touch that middle pad. All right. Getting there. Getting there. Almost ready to go. Okay. So the braid is now left and right. And I'm going to cut a little bit more off because I'm actually going to need to hang this. Well, no. Yeah, I am going to need to hang this off the front. So, but I mean, we'll be fine. This will be fine. Yeah, we'll hang it like that. And then that'll hit like that. Yeah. Now, I'm going to cut a little more. Cut a little bit more than you need because you're going to need to hang it off the front. I can probably just do this. Yeah, there we go. Okay. That's all I needed. And then again, really separate it. Really, really, really try to get all this shielding bunched up and get it separated from that inner plastic insulation. Try to get it as far away from that as possible. All right. And I mean, we can just 90 it. We can just leave it like a little letter T for the time being. But again, just make sure you really get down there and really pull these guys out. All right, cool. Now you're going to go back and you're going to do the same thing with that. You're just going to notch the plastic and you're going to go halfway. We want a little buffer. You're going to go halfway, real gentle, 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 gentle. That was unbelievably gentle. That didn't even do anything. A little bit too gentle there. Need to be a little firmer with it. All right, that should be good. So now you're going to come in here, pull that plastic bit off, check it to make sure that there's no strands in it. There are none. Now we're good to go. Now we're going to tin this center part, zap that guy down, and then we're going to pull these little side guys over. And so I guess what I'll do is I'll just, I'll make that angle right now. And this will make a lot of sense in 1 second. Ready, guys? Ready? I want to do this before I tin it. I'm actually going to give it a little turn here. Let these guys stay together. And give this guy a little turn too. All right, so now I'm going to take my little tweezers. I'm just going to make a 90-degree angle. Ready? Grab it like this. Out a little bit. I'm going to make a 90. And then I do the same thing on the other side. Making a 90. All right. Now the wire's kind of frayed upwards. We're going to flatten them out. And look at that. Does it make sense now? Now do you get it? And now we're going to solder it onto those pads, and they're not going to, they're no longer going to bridge to one another because we put that, yeah, because of what we just did. Make sense? Was anybody lost until just now, or have you guys all been like, hurry up, motherfucker? Are you an idiot? Okay, let's tin them and put them on there, and we'll be good to go. And hopefully, this thing will be amazing on the laptop. I have high hopes. Okay. All right, outside one is tinned. Let's do the middle. Middle is good. Roll it over. And I'll do the other side. All right, good enough. Now we're going to put this here and just doink all of them down, my fellow doinkers. Okay. No real method to this madness. Just going to tin the tip and zolp them on. That's right, I said zolp. I don't know what it means, but I said it. All right, here we go. What the hell just happened? Hold on. Shiniest tip in the world right now. Okay. One of the outsides is done. There goes the middle. And other side. And that, my friends, is how you do it. So now you want to take a really close look at this and make sure that, the braids in the middle are not touching that center pad, and they are not. So we are good to go. Everything looks nice and flat on there. I'm going to absolutely douse this in welder to make it strong, because this is not a strong connection right now, boys and girls. This is going to need some serious loving. But it's going to sit in here like this, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fucking dump. Oh, there's pads on the other side that I could have used. Well, that's fine, whatever. I'm just going to dump welder in this little area here, and the welder is going to stick to the antenna itself, and it's also going to fill this ugly ass hole up. So, I mean, I might as well do that right now. Like, we're done. This is good to go. I can't even check this. So yeah, but I mean, I can see that it's completely fine. So let's get the welder and I am going to be pretty liberal with this, and then I'm just going to slap the top on and on to the next. What time is it? 11:55. I think we'll maybe do something else. We'll at least put the one glide back on the bench. Okay, this is all looking good. I'm actually gonna hit this top. If I put no, I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna try to keep all the welder out here, because I really want the welder to grab the antenna. I don't want this solder joint to be where any of the strength is coming from. So this needs to be this way. Okay. Is that in? There it is. That's in. All right. So let's just pile this high. Wait. No, I want to get some on the bottom too. Shit. Come on up, buddy. Come on. I want to get some in here. Could also do this with hot glue, but I like welder. All right, so it's in there. Good. Okay, and then I'm gonna blop some here as well. I'm gonna keep it away from that solder joint in case I need to rework it in the future. Okay, so that's probably a good amount. There we go. And put the top piece on, and that'll smush some of that. And we'll take a look at it once it's screwed back together here. It's also going to make taking this thing apart a bitch, but I mean, whatever. Sandra Little, what's VASIF mean? Are you a FPV person, or are you a figment of our imagination? All right, so there it is. There's not quite enough welder in there, so let's really beef it up here. Squirt a little bit more in like that. And I'm making sure that I squeeze the welder into the antenna part so that it adheres to that as strongly as possible. And I'm just going to make a nice big ball of it. Like that. There it is, boys and girls. That is how you do that. Come on, man. Full coverage, it's touching the antenna, it should be nice and strong, but also it's going to be a little bit flexible, which is what I want. So I'm going to let this dry standing up, I think. Put it up here. And yeah, there you go. That's how to do that. Took way longer than I thought. CiottiFPV, the channel where everything gets done 3 times, but the 3rd time that it gets done, fucking A, it's done properly. Know what I'm saying? Alright, let's get this back onto auto. And what were we even doing on this? What was the problem with this? Oh, is this the no RPM filter rig? This is the rig that won't arm because it says RPM filter, which I don't think it should be saying that. It flew. There's no real reason for it to just all of a sudden give me the middle finger. So let me do this. Let me plug it in. We'll look at the little MSP flags in Betaflight. What do you think of that? Oh, I want this monitor. Save, fine. Let's see. Yeah, Welder is the name of that product. It's also called E6000 or some shit, I think it is. So here we go. Connect. Arming disable flags. RX failsafe MSP RPM filter. RPM filtering is enabled, but one or more ESCs are not supplying valid D-shot telemetry, of course, because they're not powered up. Check the ESCs are capable. Right, firmware, bidirectional, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. So let's put power to it and see what happens. It blows up. Everything is fine now. I don't think I changed anything on this. And when it was telling me the weird bidirectional shit, I was like, I don't think so, bro. But yeah, I don't know. Let's go in and reflash. So I can leave the props on because I'm going to use this smart short stopper set to 1 amp. So if it tries to spin the props up, it'll just trip that. So I'm not being sketchy, I swear. BL Heli 32 is coming up. And we're gonna connect. Oh, it's still connected to Betaflight. It can't be connected to both. Connect. I just want to verify what version it's on. Uh, 32.8. Everything looks okay. I'll reflash it just for the sake of reflashing it. I don't know. Maybe there was some weirdness. Okay, so we'll let those refresh, and we'll be good to go. What's up, chat? Let me move you back over here. I know I missed a lot of chats. I forgot to move the chat over. Let me try to catch a couple of them. There's too many. I'm just going to go to the bottom. Brandon's Baked Bean says, arm it while it's plugged in and check the flags. Throw a towel over the props. I like that trick. You can get more flags if you actually try and arm while plugged into Betaflight. Alright, it's reflashing. Yeah, right, because you get the I won't arm because I'm plugged in flag as well. Ramdonko says, so 4.3 does motor direction. 4.3 is brilliant in terms of motor direction and motor location. Oh my god, it's so good. Jackalope says, what are throttle limits? Do you use them? There's throttle limit and then there's motor output limit. Motor output limiting I definitely use. Throttle limiting I do not. The situation where you would use throttle limiting is if you want to, if you want less horsepower available to you on your throttle stick, but more horsepower available in the PID loop. I'm not going to dive deeper into that because that's pretty rare. But yeah, that's the only time you would use the throttle limiting, which is in the rates tab. Demenis says, is that Coke can looking thing on the back a capacitor? What size is that? It's a 1000 UF 35 volt, and then the little sticker, which makes it look like a Coke can, is available on race day quads. Brandon's Baked Bean says, you'll get the arm switch flag, but you also get other flags if there's an issue. Nice. B-Man is back. I finished up the thing, and now we're doing another thing. Oh my god, we're down to 36 people. Jesus, when did I lose everybody? Holy hell. Oh, it was a slow decline. Okay. Yeah. Guess people didn't like all the U.F.L. shit. That's fine. I didn't love doing it. It's okay. Alright, here we go. Let's reset this up. Oh no, it remembered everything. That's really nice. Well, let's disconnect and reconnect, just to make sure. That was weird. Hey! Connect. And... Come on. Come on! Come on! Check! Hey, everything is still good. Very cool. That's right. And... Cool. So, I betcha it's totally fine. I'm gonna be ultra sketchy and plug a battery in. I'm just gonna arm it for like a split second. Where's that white radio? Oh, there's no battery in it. Son of a bitch. It's fine. It's gonna be fine. Nah. Alright. You guys can watch me get my hands chopped off. Ooh. Moosh. Okay, crossfire antenna is going on. Okay, it might get a little noisy for a second, but I gotta do this.
Welcome to OpenTX. Throttle warning.
Crossfire is on there. Okay, great. And so we're gonna plug it in. Oh god. Oh boy. Oh, creepy, creepy. Creepy, creepy. Yep, good to go. Cool, all set. Yeah, I didn't do anything. This is yet another example of quads being quads. They just, every once in a while, you put a battery on a rig and it just does some weird shit. And like, I'll unplug, I'll replug, I'll unplug, I'll replug, I'll unplug, I'll replug. It's all angry. I sleep on it and it's all better in the morning. Absolutely no reason that should happen, but I don't know. You know, who am I to? Hey, I'll take the quicker repair every time, every single time. So there you have it, guys. There's how to fix a. If you go to arm your rig and it says RPM filtering in the goggles, just take it apart, don't do anything to it, and it'll be fine. Avik says, do you have access to your old logos? Some of them, not all of them. Ramdonko says 1103s on a 65. Oh god, no. No. Well, it depends. Do you mean 65 motor to motor or 65 millimeter propeller? 65 motor to motor, that's a 1.2 inch propeller. It's the small tiny whoop size. That only needs an 0802. 65 millimeter propeller, that's a 2.5 inch propeller, and an 1103 is going to be way too small for that. You want a 1304 or a 1404. Hell, maybe even that 1504, but I don't think so. I think a 1304 or 1404 would be your best bet. Sounds good, Ethics. All right, friends, I am going to wrap this one up because it's after midnight. Here's some more flying from that church spot. I'm going to give you some Epidemic Soundage. And I'll see you guys on Wednesday for Whoop Wednesday. We got a bunch of shit to do. No, we don't. Wait, yes, we do. I should have my Pyro Drone order by then. So, yeah, see you for Whoop Wednesday, 8 o'clock. Be there, or you suck. Just kidding. You don't have to be there. But you should, if you know what's good for you. Love you guys. Later.